In this video, we are going to continue with solving one-step equations, this time by multiplying and dividing. So our goal is going to be, I can solve equations by using multiplication and division. So that is our goal. And as a quick little warm-up, we're going to do these together just to remember how to multiply by fractions, because it might have been a while since we've done it, you might have forgotten. So this 1 over 9 times 9 is the same as 1 over 9 times 9 over 1. Then you just multiply across. You get 9 over 9. Anything divided by itself is 1. Same thing here. This is negative 7 over 1 times negative 1 over 7. So we have negative 7 over negative 7. Anything divided by itself is 1. Same thing over here. This one's already set up for us, so we're just going to multiply across. 2 times 3 is 6. Over 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So just a quick recap on how to multiply fractions together. Now we're going to talk about something new. It's called the multiplicative inverse. And what it says is a number times its reciprocal is 1. And then we're going to talk about what a reciprocal is. The reciprocal of a number is found by dividing that number by 1. So the reciprocal of 4 would be 1 divided by 4, which is just 1/4. The reciprocal of negative 9 would be 1 divided by negative 9, which is negative 1/9. Now ones like this, like 3/4, are kind of harder because you want to divide by 1 over 1, but what really happens is that the numerator and denominator just switch. It would be 4/3. And then 1/5 would be the same thing. You would switch the numerator and denominator and get 5. So those are reciprocals. And what the multiplicative inverse says is that if I took a number, so let's say 4, times its reciprocal, 1/4, and I multiply it across, I get 4 over 4, which is 1. That works. So when we're solving equations, again, what you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other. So our first step is we're going to write the equation. X divided by 3 is 6. And draw the line through the equal sign. Then we're going to use this multiplicative inverse. And x over 3 is the same thing as 1/3 x. So I need to multiply by 3 on both sides to get rid of my denominator, because I just want to get x by itself. That's what goes over here, x. So now I have 3 over 3x equals 6 times 3 is 18. Our last step is to simplify. Anything divided by itself is 1, so I just have 1x equals 18. Okay, this one down here, our goal, what's our variable? Our variable is y. I want to get y by itself. I'm going to write the equation. Two ninths y equals -4. Draw the line through it. Then I'm going to use the multiplicative inverse. And so I want to get rid of this fraction in front of the y. That's my whole goal. I want to know, what can I do to this fraction to make it 1? And that is by the multiplicative inverse. That's what we saw when we defined it earlier. So I'm going to take it times its multiplicative inverse, which is 9/2. And I get 9/2 times 2/9y equals -4 times 9/2. And then I simplify. 9 times 2 is 18 over 2 times 9 is 18. Y equals -4 times 9 is -36/2. 18 divided by 18 is just 1, so I'm left with 1y equals -36 divided by 2 is -18. My goal is always to get the coefficient in front of my variable to be 1. Let's flip to the back. Line it up. All right, again, I'm going to look for my variable. My variable is w. I want to get it by itself, which means I want to have a coefficient of 1. I'm going to write that. Coefficient of 1. Blurry. There we go. So I'm going to write my equation. Equals w divided by -11. Oops. Not 111. And my line through the equal sign to keep it organized. Multiplicative inverse. So w divided by -11 is really 1 over -11 times w. Those are the same thing. So I know I need to multiply by -11 over 1. Do on both sides. Then I simplify. -11 times 5 is -55/1 equals, then I have -11, I'll do it this way first. 1 over -11 times -11/1, that times w. So we get -55 equals -11 over -11 w. This simplifies to 1. Need to move it over here because I ran out of space. So -11 times -11 is 1. -55 equals w. Moving on. We're going to get k by itself this time. Write the equation. I have 7 times k. I need to multiply by the multiplicative inverse. The multiplicative inverse of 7 is 1 over 7. So now I'm going to simplify. So 1 over 7 times 7 is 7 over 7k equals 84 times 1 over 7 is 84 over 7. 7 times divided by 7 is 1, so I'm just left with a 1k equals 84 divided by 7 is 12. Last couple. All right, write the equation. Actually, first we need to get n by itself. That's what we're looking for. We're gonna write the equation. Negative 32 equals 8n. Draw the line through it, keep it organized. Multiplicative inverse. It's going to multiply times whatever we need to multiply this 8 by to make it turn into a 1. That's its multiplicative inverse, which is 1 over 8. So now I have negative 32 over 8 equals 8 over 8n. Negative 32 divided by 8 is negative 4. 8 divided by 8 is 1, and so we're just left with 1n, and that was our goal. All right, I'm going to do this one down here a little bit differently, but very similar. So I still want to find x. I'm going to start by writing the equation. But this time I'm going to divide. I just want to show you a different way other than multiplying by the multiplicative inverse. Instead of using that, we're going to divide, and this is going to be the division property of equality. Just like the addition and subtraction property of equality, it's just saying you're dividing by the same thing on both sides. So I know that anything divided by itself is going to be 1. So I know that if I divide negative 13x by negative 13, I'm going to get 1x. So that's that step that I'm going to simplify. Negative 13 divided by negative 13 is 1. I'm just left with 1x. 26 divided by negative 13 is negative 2. All right, on this bottom part, down here, I need you to write one question that you have about solving equations by multiplying and dividing. So you don't have to write all of this out. I just want you to write a question that you still have. I know some things were maybe confusing, like what the multiplicative inverse is, or why I did this one differently. Have those questions ready to ask me at one of your stations. So take 2 minutes and write your question.